how I qualified for the first solo victory cup in season 3, analysing what I done good and bad so you can learn from it and qualify yourself. But before even getting into the tournament, I had a game plan and knew exactly how I was going to play out my games. This is something all players should be doing. A game plan in this tournament was to literally get gloves as rotation and just try and survive as long as possible. In mid game, I was just going to avoid any fights because even a bad player could kill me with the fists. And I knew I had to play for the win each game because in the new format you get 65 points for a win. Every time I would box, I would sit on this ramp edit because if you don't know already, it stops people from nitro and fisting in your box. It's also good for scouting through your cone. One thing I've done really well in this tourney is timing my fists. You don't want to go at the same time as everyone and someone land in your box, but you don't want to go too late and get held. Everyone in front of me goes and then the enemies to my right are fighting, so I choose to go now. A few boxes later, before I could edit my ramp, someone fisted in and killed me, which was really demotivating as I died 15th, and that's when you start getting a lot of placement points, but also I was full HP and still had a lot of mats. Not only that, but I spent a lot of time in game, and normally this would make me panic and start W keying in the games after. But I made the right decision and chose to stick to my game plan. Talking of game plan, part of that was also to land somewhere where I could get max mats off spawn. In this case, reckless. The reason for this being I've tried playing passive previously but landed somewhere that lacks metal, meaning I'd have to rotate to one of few spots to get it mid game. A lot of other players have the same problem and will also rotate there, meaning you're probably going to get into a fight. As you can see, I've got max mats really quickly. This is because I've learned the drop and know what gives the most materials per hit, so I can factor this into my loot path. And the faster the loot path, you'll be able to rotate before everyone else and get a better position. Then I accidentally bumped into someone, but because I was stacked, I chose to disengage. I'm trying to disengage, just pretend to be a bit aggro and don't act like a complete bot, otherwise you will get pushed. When I got to endgame, my strategy was literally just box, fist, box, be aware, and then repeat. When I say aware, I knew any second someone could just fist in my box, so I was always looking out for anyone heading towards my direction. If they did, I would just fist out myself. In endgame, it's really hard to keep height this season because people could just fist up above you. So what I've done here is just kept building high, and if anyone would fist up, I would just fist up myself, so I'd always remain above them. I actually ended up winning this game, and it's what placed me top 700 and probably made me qual for finals, so I'm just going to let it play out in the background and then I'll resume with the tips after. My lesson here is if you don't have fists, you always need to make an early rotate because people will play stupid because they have gloves to get them out of trouble. In the game after, there's actually someone camping in the bush and they get a massive beam on me and then they try and fist me. But I played this really well actually. I make a lot of space but also I'm moving constantly because I know if I just rebox they're going to fist me. So I keep jumping all over the place so he can't really touch me. And then I go up for height and then this is the risky part. I actually try and pop a heal here, and because of that, I don't have a box, and then I rebox, and he actually gets this wall, but luckily misses his shots, and I'm able to get the kills. So I'm actually quite lucky there. Although I already had max mats, it was still an amazing refresh as I managed to get his fist, which made me survive way later into endgame. As you can see, there's probably no way I make this max pool over water without fists. If I've got a lot of mats, I always go on a high layer because if you go low ground, it's often filled with people with no mats and always going for refreshes. A tip that's used by all pros is when they rotate out their box, they always go out the side or back because if you go out the front and someone's watching you, you will get beamed. On rotate, I accidentally got into someone's box, but I hit some really solid shots, and this is why you should always warm up and practice your aim. Notice how as soon as I get the kill, my priority is not the loot, it's actually to make more space because people will be looking for a refresh and could come straight in. Unfortunately, I made a bad play and went for height with no HP, but also I just went too high, making myself vulnerable to be beamed. Pawn coming down, my builds got broken out by a fist, and then I tried to pop a medkit too late and died. I got in last queue with a few minutes to go, and I knew this game was going to be stacked, so my priority this game was to get Storm Surge early so I could just focus on rotates endgame. I was successful as I went into endgame above Storm Surge and with good mats, meaning I didn't have to get a refresh, which would have been a risk because if I died I would have lost out on qualification. Look how unskillful fists are. Someone got in front of me front side, but I managed to get out just by pulling out my fists. Low ground was really scuffed, so I tried to go up, but I didn't learn from my mistake last game and I went up with low HP and got shot out the air. I ended up qualifying quite comfortably, but I know I didn't play the best and I've got a lot to work on. And I can't show all this without final games, so here we go and let's see what we done wrong. First game, although I didn't have Fist, I had good loot and I had max mats and a lot of storm surge damage, but unfortunately I went into this house not expecting anyone to be camping in the corner. Didn't expect it because I thought everyone would be out getting storm surge, but from now I'm going to be extra cautious with buildings. In the next game I didn't even need surge tags because I was already above, but there wasn't even going to be surge because there's around 30 players, but for some reason I stopped and was getting tagged and someone came up behind me and killed me. Third and final game was the closest I got to winning. Late on in the game I got a refresh and the guy I killed had 6 medkits, so I was in a really good position to win this game with the heal off. Unfortunately I took too much time to loot, didn't make space, and then tried to sort out my inventory and someone came straight through and killed me. If you're a legend and stayed this far in the video, comment victory and you will qualify for next cup. This video was a new type of content for me, so if you enjoyed, let me know by leaving a like. And as always, to make sure you don't miss any videos like this one, make sure to follow and subscribe and then turn on notifications.